16-year-old kid from Japan just ran faster than Usain Bolt did when Bolt was 20, and now everyone wants to know who he is. His name is Sorato Shimizu. He's a high school student from Ishikawa, Japan. And in July 2025, he did something amazing. At a big high school sports meet in Hiroshima, he ran 100 meters in exactly 10 seconds. That might not sound super fast to you at first, but here's the thing. No teenager under 18 had ever run that fast before. Ever. The old record was 10.06 seconds. Two other young runners held that record. Christian Miller from America got it in 2023. So did Purapol Bunsan from Thailand, also in 2023. But Shimizu just blew past both of them. He didn't just break the record, he smashed it. His time was faster than Usain Bolt's best time when Bolt was 20 years old. Yes, that Usain Bolt, the fastest human being who ever lived. When Bolt was 20, his best was 10.03 seconds. Shimizu beat that, and he's only 16.
They're set to win Blake. Gets a decent start. Nikhil Ashmead is left in the blocks, and so too Usain Bailey. Joel Blake steps away from the rest of the field. Bailey tries to go with him, looks around. It's a 10.
Now, before you think Shimizu beat Bolt's actual world record, let's be clear. Bolt still holds the fastest time ever at 9.58 seconds. He set that in 2009, and nobody has touched it since. But the fact that a 16-year-old kid is already faster than young Bolt, that's something special. So who is this kid anyway? Shimizu is small for a sprinter. He stands just 164 centimeters tall. That's about 5 feet 4 inches. Most great sprinters are much taller. But Shimizu doesn't let that stop him. Both his parents were athletes. His dad was a high jumper who finished 4th at a national competition. His mom ran the 100-meter hurdles at the national level too. So you could say speed runs in the family. In 2023, when he was still in middle school, Shimizu won the 200-meter race at the National Junior Championship. That was his first big win, but nobody really knew his name yet. Then he got to high school in 2024, and everything changed. In his first year of high school, Shimizu ran 10.26 seconds. That might not sound super impressive now, but remember, just 1 year before that, his best time was 10.75 seconds. He got almost half a second faster in just 1 year. That's huge in sprinting. That run set a new national record for his age group in Japan. The old record belonged to Abdul Hakim Sani Brown, a famous Japanese sprinter who's the only Japanese runner to ever make it to a world championship 100-meter final. So beating his record meant something big. But Shimizu wasn't done, not even close. In April 2025, he went to Saudi Arabia for the Asian Under-18 Championships. He won gold in the 100 meters. His time there was 10.38 seconds. Good, but not amazing yet. Then came July. First, he ran 10.19 seconds at one meet. People started paying attention. But the real magic happened at the National High School Championship in Hiroshima. It's the final race. Shimizu lines up against the other fastest high school kids in Japan. The gun goes off, and Shimizu just takes off. He leaves everyone behind. Not by a little bit, by a lot. The second-place runner finished in 10.27 seconds. Shimizu beat him by almost 0.3 of a second. In sprinting, that's like winning by a mile. When Shimizu crossed the finish line, he knew. He threw his arms up and jumped for joy. Then the time flashed on the screen. 10 seconds, exactly 10 seconds flat. The crowd went wild. After the race, Shimizu told reporters what he was thinking. He said, "I was determined to run under 10 seconds heading into the final. I'm happy to have set a high school record. I'd like to get a taste of it if I can make it." He was talking about the World Championships coming to Tokyo in September. But Shimizu's record wasn't just about being the fastest teenager, it was also about breaking a record that had stood in Japan for 12 years. Back in 2013, a runner named Yoshihide Kiryu ran 10.01 seconds while he was in high school. Kiryu later became the first Japanese person ever to run under 10 seconds. He's a legend in Japan. And now Shimizu had beaten his high school record. That time also made Shimizu the 5th Japanese sprinter of all time. Think about that. All those adult professional runners. And a 16-year-old high school kid is already 5th best in the country's history. So what makes Shimizu so fast? His coach has some answers. Miki Nishino coaches track at Shimizu's high school. He noticed two special things about how Shimizu runs. First, Shimizu is amazing at moving his upper body and lower body together at the same time. Everything works in perfect rhythm. Second, when his foot hits the ground, he does it perfectly every single time. He rarely misses his contact point, Nishino said. It's amazing. Shimizu also trains hard to make his shoulder blades more flexible. That helps him move his arms and legs together better. Another expert had even more to say. Professor Shigemori Omori teaches sports science at a university near Shimizu's school. He used to coach Japan's national track team and competed in the 1984 Olympics himself. Omori said the key to Shimizu's speed is his thighs. When you want to run fast, the swing speed of the thighs is going to be the key, he explained. And Shimizu's swing speed of the thighs is probably the fastest among any Japanese. But there's more. Omori also noticed that Shimizu reaches his top speed really fast and keeps it longer than almost anyone. Omori said, Shimizu is the fastest at top speed compared with any other sprinter in Japan, or he may be in the top 2, alongside Yanagita. Here's where it gets really exciting. Omori thinks Shimizu could get much faster. Right now, when Shimizu's foot touches the ground, it stays there for about 0.08 seconds. But if he could get that down to 0.07 seconds, Omori said he might run somewhere between 9.6 and 9.8 seconds. Let's put that in perspective. A time under 9.8 seconds would make him one of the top 3 runners in the world right now. Only 3 people in history have ever run under 9.7 seconds. Usain Bolt, Tyson Gay, and Johan Blake. That's it. After his record run, everyone wanted to know if Shimizu would compete at the World Championships in Tokyo. The problem was complicated. Japan already had 3 really good sprinters for the individual 100-meter race. Yoshihide Kiryu, Yuhi Mori, and Abdul Hakim Sani Brown.
Early performance there, Japan absolutely tearing away from it. But De Grasse of Canada, look at him on the right-hand side, in the red, but Japan are going to take it, they're going to take it. First qualifying spot, there we go, followed by Canada, then Netherlands in third.
But people started talking about the relay team, the 4x100 meters relay. That's where 4 runners each run 100 meters and pass a baton. Japan is really good at relays. They won a silver medal at the 2016 Olympics. On September 2nd, the announcement came. Shimizu made the team. He was going to run in the relay at the World Championships. The chairman of the Japan Track Federation said he ran at 10.00 seconds even though he is a high schooler. I have high expectations for him as a potential X factor for the relay team. So how does Shimizu handle all this attention? Pretty well, actually. People found out about me, he told reporters in August. I'm aware there are more people watching me now. I feel the support in that regard. It's nice to have people rooting for you. I really don't feel much pressure. But Shimizu isn't just thinking about right now. He's got big plans. He said, I'm 16 now, and next year when I'm 17, I hope to run a sub-10. After that, 3 years down the road when I'm 19, 20, I want to compete at the Los Angeles Olympics. I want to run a 9 while I'm still in high school, so for now, that's what I'm working towards. A 9-second time while still in high school. That would be absolutely incredible. Only a handful of adults have ever done that. But Shimizu believes he can do it.
History! She's driving for the line, and she's done it! 47.80! No
What if
woman!
the thing holding you back from greatness isn't your body, but your mind? 2 Olympic champions just proved that mental toughness beats pure talent every single time. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone stands in the starting blocks at the Tokyo Olympics. She's the American record holder, but not the world record holder. That title belongs to Delilah Muhammad, who's standing right next to her in lane 7. The gun goes off. Both women cross the finish line having broken the world record, but Sydney's time is faster, 51.46 seconds. She finally has her gold medal. Here's what makes this moment incredible. 5 years earlier, this same athlete was a terrified 16-year-old at the Rio Olympics who gave up mid-race because fear took over completely. So what changed? Not her speed, not her technique, her mind. Sydney grew up loving to run. Her parents both ran track, but they never pushed her. She just enjoyed it naturally. Then she started competing, and something dark crept in, a desperate need to win. When she was only 7 years old, she told her dad on the way to a race that she was terrified of losing. Her dad stayed calm and said, if that happens, we'll get some food and go home. Simple as that. But those words didn't stick. The more races Sydney won, the more fear grew inside her. Every victory made the next race scarier. What if I don't win next time? That question haunted her. By junior year of high school, Sydney was running so fast that she made it to the Olympic trials. She was 16 years old, standing in Eugene, Oregon, surrounded by confident professional women with planned-out race strategies. She felt like a timid little girl who didn't deserve to be there. The fear was so bad that she called her dad and begged him to let her quit. He told her she was already there, so just get the experience. At the starting line, her competitive instinct kicked in. She won her heat, then the next one. In the final, she grabbed third place and the last spot on Team USA heading to Rio. But instead of joy, she felt panic. Sydney had dreamed about the Olympics since she was 8 years old, watching American women win gold on TV. Now that dream was real, and all she could think about was losing. At the Rio semifinals, the pressure crushed her. There was talk of an American sweep, 3 American women, all expected to dominate. The weight of those expectations was suffocating. Halfway through her race, something broke. Her will to win just left. Instead of her normal surge at the end, she slowed down. Her Olympics were over. Fear had won. It stole one of the greatest seasons of her life. Fear whispered to her that if she couldn't be perfect, why even try? But here's what Sydney learned later. She was looking at the wrong thing. She defined herself completely by her wins and losses. Nothing else about her mattered if she wasn't winning. Her entire identity was tied to being the fastest. After Rio, things got worse before they got better. In fall of 2018, Sydney moved to Los Angeles to start her professional career. The 400-meter hurdles is one of the most brutal events in track. You need technique, endurance, and pure speed all at once. Her first year as a pro, she missed too many training days. She wasn't disciplined. She struggled clearing hurdles. At Nationals, Dalilah Muhammad destroyed her and broke the world record doing it, and Sydney's anxiety went through the roof. At the 2019 World Championships in Qatar, she stuttered on the 8th hurdle but still finished with the 3rd fastest time in history. Dalilah ran even faster, breaking her own world record again. Sydney found her dad in the tunnel under the stadium and just sobbed. She was ashamed because she knew she hadn't prepared right. Then, her personal life fell apart too. She tried getting back together with an old boyfriend, thinking that would make her happy. He wasn't interested at all. She felt completely worthless. That's when something clicked. Sydney thought to herself that the only way she would heal was with God. Her parents had raised her in church, but she'd been avoiding God. She had this idea that he was harsh and would demand she give up everything she loved, including running. But her soul was searching for something bigger. She started going to church again. She studied the Bible. One verse hit different. It talked about wisdom being like honey. You can take bitter experiences and find the sweetness in them. Setbacks don't destroy you when you know there's a bigger plan for your future. Sydney's whole approach changed. She met Andre Levrone Jr. through friends in Los Angeles. He's a former NFL player. As their relationship grew, so did her faith. When they got engaged in August 2021, Sydney was already running for a completely different reason. Not for herself, for God. She stopped trying to control everything. She took each day as it came. That doesn't mean she worked less hard. It means she knew she'd done her best and trusted the outcome. Andre helped ground her. When anxious thoughts tried creeping back in, he pulled her back to reality. Together, they committed their relationship to the Lord every single day. This is the Sydney who showed up in Tokyo, not the scared 16-year-old from Rio. She was freed from being defined by running. When fear controls your training, only winning brings relief. But that relief is temporary because fear keeps chasing you. Now Sydney runs for something bigger. Victory over the fear of failure gave her true freedom. It let her jump those hurdles with actual joy. Now let's talk about someone who took a completely different path to mental dominance. Mondo Duplantis, the Swedish-American pole vaulter, is doing things nobody has ever seen before. He's the Olympic champion, world champion, European champion. He holds every major title and keeps breaking world records.
Yeah, the crowd are on their feet. They're roaring him on. Is it his 4th world record of the year? Yes!
Scott Simpson used to pole vault internationally and now coaches Olympic athletes. He studied Mondo's technique closely and found 3 things that separate him from everyone else. First, his speed is almost unprecedented. The speed Mondo generates at takeoff is higher than anyone else in history. That matters because pole vault is an energy storage game. You store energy in the pole as it bends. More energy stored means more energy returned to launch you higher. But here's the crazy part. Usually athletes with great speed have poor technique on the pole, or athletes with great technique are slower. Mondo has both. He puts massive speed through takeoff while maintaining incredible technique at those high speeds. That combination is unique to him. Second, his consistency is remarkable. Wind, rain, high pressure, competitive environment, jumping alone, doesn't matter. Mondo produces the same incredible output every single time. He built a huge toolbox by doing pole vault from such a young age. That toolbox lets him perform consistently no matter what's happening around him. Third, his competitive mindset is unbreakable. Mondo's parents talk about his competitiveness from when he was little. Growing up with two brothers and a sister, he had to compete for everything. But here's a wild detail. His parents had to drag him off YouTube at midnight because he was watching pole vault videos. That's not normal dedication, that's obsession. When Mondo doesn't perform as well as he wants, you can see the frustration on his face. That fire burns constantly. Simpson says this creates a mindset that's incredibly difficult to beat. But Mondo also loves the pressure. He's a showman. Not as flashy as Usain Bolt was, but Mondo absolutely loves being on that stage. He's often the last athlete competing with all eyes on him. That brings out his best. After breaking world records, he's jumped over cameramen and done spontaneous front flips on the track. His personality embraces the attention. So here's what these two champions teach us. Sydney found freedom by changing what defined her. She stopped running from fear and started running towards something bigger than herself. Mondo found dominance through obsessive preparation and trusting his process under pressure.
Yes, the two champions over 200 meters, but Lyles is never to be denied his shining moment. He has the last word.
Something big just happened in American track and field. For the first time in years, the United States relay teams are actually working the way they should, and Noah Lyles, Sha'Carri Richardson, and Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone are right in the middle of it all. Let me explain what's going on. The U.S. track team just won 4 out of 5 gold medals at the World Championships in Tokyo. That might not sound like a huge deal, but it is. The American relay teams have been a mess for 20 years. But now, something has changed. And it's all leading up to the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. Here's what makes this special. Both the men's and women's 4x100 relay teams won gold at the same big competition. This has only happened one other time in the past 10 years. The stars who helped make it happen? Sha'Carri Richardson, Noah Lyles, and Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone all ran anchor legs and brought home gold. But winning these races is just part of the story. What really matters is how they fixed a broken system. Robert Chapman works as the Chief of High Performance Operations for USA Track and Field. He asked a really important question. We always have great talent, but do we have the culture in place to allow the talent to achieve what they're capable of? His answer after Tokyo was clear. He said, "I feel we took a solid positive step to nailing that process and getting that established." So what changed? Everything, actually. Before this year, picking who runs on the relay teams was a total disaster. At last year's Olympics, 8 different people had a say in who made the team. 8 people. All of them had their own opinions. All of them had their own favorites, and nobody could agree on anything. Chapman said, "There's always been involvement by a high-performance committee, and we've had contractor coaches making decisions. It wasn't exactly straightforward. We tried to reorganize and restructure how we do relays. For 2025, they cut that list down to just 2 people. Wallace Spearman, a former U.S. sprinter, and Amy Begley, a distance runner. That's it. 2 general managers who make the decisions, and everyone else stays out of it." This simple change did something amazing. It let the coaches focus on what actually matters. Chapman said it keeps coaches out of politics about team makeup and allows them to focus on fundamentals of what really matters, like passing the baton. Now here's where things get interesting. The old way of doing things wasn't just messy. It was costing America medals. The men's 4x100 relay team went 20 years without winning an Olympic medal. 20 years. They finished second in 2012, but that medal got taken away because of a doping violation. Since 1995, bad baton passes have cost the U.S. men in 7 world championships and 6 Olympics. That's 13 times they messed up when they had the fastest runners in the world. Carl Lewis knows this better than anyone. He won 2 Olympic relay gold medals for America. Before last year's failure, he told the Associated Press exactly what the problem was. He said, "The issue has always been politics, has always been drama, has always been deception. If they can eliminate those things, there's no question they have the fastest team in the world." Well, Tokyo proved Carl Lewis was right. On a rainy final night in Tokyo, the United States won 3 out of 4 relay races. The only loss came in the men's 4x400 relay against Botswana. And honestly, that race was incredible to watch. Botswana is becoming a real force in sprinting. They had Colin Kebenat-Shipi, who just won the 400-meter world title. They also had Letsile Tebogo, the Olympic 200-meter champion. Rai Benjamin ran anchor for Team USA and got the baton with a small lead. But Kebenat-Shipi caught him right at the end and won by just 0.07 seconds. It was Botswana's first relay win, and they earned it. But let's talk about the wins. The women's 4x100 team has now won 4 straight gold medals at major competitions. The first one was an upset over Jamaica back in 2022. Jamaica had their own baton problems that day. The last 3 wins have all had Sha'Carri Richardson running the anchor leg. And here's something really interesting. This year, Richardson was actually struggling during the season. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden won gold in both the 100 and 200 meters. But the team stuck with Richardson on anchor anyway. Why? Because they had a plan and they trusted it. Wallace Spearman explained the new system. He said, "We sent out depth charts so people knew exactly where they would run. We made sure athletes weren't competing for a spot in the final. We said, this is the order. This is your job. You handle your job. And if you don't like your job, then don't get on the plane." No drama, no politics, just clear roles and clear expectations. Spearman called it a culture change that created the least amount of drama he's seen since he started working with the sprint program in the mid-2000s. The men's 4x100 team also came through. They've now won at the last 2 World Championships, though they did mess up at the Olympics last year. In Tokyo, they got a bit lucky because Jamaica had problems in qualifying.